Right, we'll kick off. So thank you everyone so much for joining this session of LoftTalk. We're having our ER for PR session today, so really excited for this one. My name's Beth, I'm Head of Business Development at Digitaloft, and I am barely going to even speak today because I am going to hand over to the lovely Betty, who's going to be our host today in our ER for PR. If anyone does have any questions throughout, please do pop them into the Q&A box, and if we've got time, I'll ask them at the end. But for now, I'll hand over to Betty. We've also got Grace, Charlotte and Jack who are going to be answering some of your questions. So yeah, Betty, I will make you the host and let you take it away.
Thanks so much, Beth. Well, hi everyone. Happy Hump Day. Welcome to the launch of our new series of LoftTalk. So we're going to be doing this every so often. And basically, we are just going to try and help you solve your problems. Thank you to everyone that sent in their emails, DMs, questions, issues, problems. It's much, much appreciated. And we did identify some common themes across the industry. So we tried to pick the ones that we can kind of hopefully help the most people with. As Beth mentioned, we do have some people with us today on the panel. So we've got Jack, Charlotte and Grace. So Jack is one of our digital PR managers. He has been in the industry for over 10 years and actually started out as a content creator. So he's kind of seen both sides of the coin. And we've got Grace, who's one of our senior execs. She gets, honestly, the coverage that she gets. I'm always so jealous. And then we have Charlotte, who is one of our strategists, and she works on one of our biggest corporate clients as well. So we've got a good variety of experience, and hopefully we will help you with some of the common issues that we're all facing today. But yeah, I will just kick off straight away with the first question. So this is a biggie. And the question is, why is relevancy so important? And how would you define a relevant link? I know that this is a huge topic in our industry at the moment. I know from my personal experience as well that this is really something that clients are really starting to open more conversations up about, which is great. Obviously, we all kind of want to make sure all of our work is really high quality, but how do we define what is a relevant link? And yeah, why is it so important? So Jack, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, first, you just said it's a hot topic at the minute. And obviously that in combining digital PR with EEAT. So I think in order to demonstrate is EEAT through digital PR, it's more important than ever to make sure that the coverage that we're securing for clients is relevant to their industry, as well as the products and services that they offer. So in my opinion, I think a relevant link needs to connect the client with the site that the link is being featured on, or the article that the client's being mentioned in. So for example, trust and expertise can be strengthened for, say, an interior brand with an in-house expert commenting on interior trends, but it might not be the best expert to comment on maybe outdoor patio ideas. So I think it's important when we're thinking about relevancy is also to position yourself as a reader, not just the person pitching the comments. Because if you're a reader, again, if you're looking for advice on, the best interior trends, but it's, a health expert comment on it, you haven't got that trust with the expert. So yeah, I think from my opinion, that's what defines a relevant link. It's just that connection between the article, the publication and the expert commenting on it as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's just really getting to know your clients, like their products and services, like you say, just kind of doing your own research and just thinking I love that, think of yourself as the reader. If you read it, would you go like, oh, this is really out of place?
Yeah.
So like you say with that sort of interior design one, wouldn't make sense if that article's on a tech publication, for example. And that can just be a really simple way of explaining that to your client, definitely.
Yeah.
That said though, Jack, what do you think about, let's say, if there's there's a broader publication, so such as a national or regional, but they've got like a URL, they've got a section for home and interiors. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, as I say, when I mentioned before about maybe, if a journalist is looking for an expert to comment on, I don't know, say sleep tips, but it's on Ideal Home, where it's not, you wouldn't associate a health expert with Ideal Home, but the journalist could be looking, at sleep tips that could be linked to, bedroom design or something along those lines. So I feel like as long as there's that connection, or as you say, that path between the expert and either the article or the publication, then yeah, I definitely don't see it being an issue there.
Yeah, and like you say, just doing your research to back up the fact that there is actually a connection between the two. So in that example, does research actually show that interior design can have an impact on your sleep? And exactly. I know some working on sleep clients, so that's a yes. But yeah, love that. Charlotte, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, so more from like the client's point of view, I think something that we really need to hone in on is the target audience and where we will find that target audience that they want to get in contact with. So like Jack said, you might get a really good high DR publication, but if your brand's target audience isn't going to be there, it doesn't matter. So we work with an outdoor brand and we could find a really good, food magazine that's a DR92, but a skier might not be reading that. I think that when we outreach or when we kind of hone in on certain publications, we think about where will that target audience be and who is more likely to click on that link, especially with kind of brands that are selling products. It's really kind of important to think who is the most likely to buy that product. Something that we looked at in Black Friday, especially kind of with the cost of living crisis that we're in at the moment, is someone who reads, say, the Metro more likely to buy a pair of skis than someone who reads In the Snow?
Yeah.
They're not. And I think it's better to say to them kind of contacts from your clients, we've got this in front of your target audience, because they know that they've kind of hit the right funnel. And that you can then get people to recognize your brand, or if they already recognize the brand, they're more likely to click on and then make that conversion and get the traffic. And I think that means more to people than a link. So if we can say, this link is in front of your target audience and 50% of them went to the website through Google Analytics, that probably means more. And obviously the more targeted the publication is, the more likely our client's target audience is going to go onto the website. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's just more kind of looking at it from a business side and, like Jack said, a reader side. Will the people who are reading about this actually care, or will they kind of use the brand again? Will they interact with the link, or will it be someone who kind of sees the name, thinks, oh, that's interesting, but doesn't care about the product or the brand itself?
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important to kind of have a blended strategy there when it comes to targeting these kind of different publications, because like you say, Metro, for example, that's great for brand awareness, but not necessarily conversion, and like relevancy when it comes to conversions. But somewhere like you say, In the Snow, well, that's just like target audience, hyper relevancy, and sales. That's like all three. And honestly, I'm such a fan of niche publications. I don't know why people are targeting more of them, but I
think especially with, like Jack was saying, EEAT, these niche publications are almost worth more. Obviously, it's great talking about, we got a link in the Daily Mail and that sounds amazing. But if you're talking to a client who's really into their industry, a publication that you might not even not care about, but that you might not have heard about before working in PR, like Energy Saving Trust, that could be incredible to your client, but it isn't a big brand publication.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, there's a niche magazine for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's way less competitive. I mean, maybe not after this call now, but but yeah, I love that. And as well, if you need to find out more information about your client's customer demographic, just ask them. Chances are, especially if they're a bigger brand, they'll have a PR team that has all this information. So just ask them, and that'll give you a bit of an insight to what websites they're actually visiting, what magazine they're actually reading, and what they actually care about. And just no harm in asking. Great. I'm going to move on to the next question. That's fab. Thanks, guys. Okay, so this is around our favourite buzzword at the minute. And honestly, it's such a mouthful. I really struggle to say it every time. But the question is, how can digital PR help to build and demonstrate EEAT, and how important is this? Honestly, every time I just want to say EAT, but I know that I need to say EEAT. But yeah, does anyone have any thoughts on this?
I think from obviously my point of view, but obviously I know it's a big focus at Digitaloft at the minute, is utilising the experts we have on hand, like I just mentioned, for like React opportunities and journalist comments. And again, I'll touch on it. I think it's just the main point is to ensure that everything the experts are commenting on is relevant to their job title as well as their industry. You know, as I would say again, like if you're a health brand, a marketing manager, are people really gonna trust a marketing manager over a pharmacist or a doctor, for example? Yes, I think that's my first sort of thought on it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is something that we all had to do back in the day. But yeah, I think now it's just we really need to make that effort to make sure that the experts that we're working with are actually experts, like you say. And I think as well, if you're working with a smaller brand as well, guys, I feel like there's no harm in collaborating with an expert if they don't have that expert in-house, especially around, you know, topics to do with like money and health and things like that. It's really, really important to actually get that advice coming from an expert. So if it is that the client doesn't have that in-house, put a call out, see if there's someone that you can partner up with on a regular basis that you can draw on for expertise. And it's a win-win because, you know, it's free PR for them at the end of the day. But
I think as well, highlighting the importance to the client of author bio pages as well.
Yeah.
Because I was recently looking over one of the quarterly reviews for a client in my pod who works in the health space, and last quarter, I think it was over 480 pieces of coverage we secured.
Oh, wow.
And of which I think it was around 470 mentioned the in-house pharmacists we work with. But of that figure, about 14 of the journalists linked back to the author bio on the site. Which obviously not only it's great for brand awareness, but it's also a perfect example of how to demonstrate EEAT, as we're linking back to the experts author bio, which highlights their expertise and the trust then between the journalist and the reader.
Yeah, definitely. Love that. Grace, do you have anything on this topic?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that Jack's just said. I think utilising expert comments is definitely trending this year, and it's something you should incorporate into your strategy if it's relevant, because it's such a good opportunity to show the expertise of your clients. And I think it's great for building those journalist relationships as well. And I think the more you can provide that expert commentary consistently, I think journalists are more likely to come directly to you. Comment as well, which we've had in our pod a few times, which is really great. I think in terms of importance, it's something that's becoming increasingly important. I think it's probably the most recommendation that our SEO team are giving to clients at the minute, and it's something that they can't ignore. If we think about Google's official quality rater guidelines, I'm going to say EEAT so many times in this answer, so bear with. But yeah, they talk specifically about EEAT being demonstrated across multiple levels. So it needs to be demonstrated at content, author, and brand. The content and author signals are much easier to do purely just SEO because they're more on page. But when it comes to those brand signals, they're more the off-page stuff, which is where digital PR and expert commentary and author pages, as Jack's just mentioned, where that all comes in really nicely and sort of all ties together. So yeah, definitely becoming increasingly important.
100%. Love it. Thanks, guys. Okay, there's loads more to say on that topic, obviously. But I think, a simple way kind of explain it to your client, I would say it's just that readers don't want to see fake news at the end of the day. And that's just something that we all need to be subscribing to. And it's also about the reputation of the company, and like chances are your client is going to want us to help them build that up. So Okay, great. So I know that this is definitely a common one. But the next question is, where can I find inspiration for campaigns? So Charlotte, what do you think about this one?
I think it almost makes me sad that this is like a question, because I truly think this is the best part of the job, the campaigns. I think it's the bit that I know a lot of people in our team will kind of be like, oh, please let me join that ideation, because it is just the best bit, in my opinion. We're quite lucky that we do have an SEO team, and something that I kind of start on when creating ideating briefs for my team is key points and keywords that we want to focus on. So we'll ask our client kind of, what do they want to rank for? What areas do they want to look at? And I'll get the teams kind of Google News surrounding that topic, or do brainstorm activities where we kind of put one of the keywords and they list all of the things that they automatically think of when you think of the word, I don't know, EV, you think of charging, you think of you think of CO2 emissions. We also have really started focusing on dream publications, which I know I sound like a broken record here, but if your client has a dream publication, look at what them publications are covering.
Yeah.
You are more likely to get that coverage. If you see that, I don't know, they really want a link in Forbes, and you can see that Forbes really like infographics, they like to have comments from experts, and they like to have kind of how-tos. If we can get that even from a reactive strategy,
I love that.
We know that we need to include that. I think as well, just reading their dream publications and reading about the industry, you will just become so much more involved in it that it will become easier to ideate for them. So we were writing about electric vehicles at a point where I couldn't even drive yet, but I could tell you about the best EVs and how to stop yourself getting taxed and all these things, because you kind of immerse yourself and then you find yourself getting excited about certain things that you didn't care about 3 years ago. I think as well, something that is really helpful is logging all your data sets that you used in past campaigns and make a note of when they're going to get refreshed. So if you know that the crime statistics are going to get refreshed in May 2024, if you know that you can get a campaign looking at crime, you know that you've got the freshest statistics, and that's what journalists want. I think the more that you work with your clients, the more that you know what statistics they want to use, where they want to steer away from, and what they kind of will fight back on or fight for. You also start to realise what journalists in that industry won't cover. Which I think is a really good way of kind of filtering what you will and won't use. It's really good when it comes to validation. Then obviously, I know that PR is such a kind of communicative industry where we will share campaigns. Just checking Twitter, checking your competitors' backlinks and seeing what they've done in the past and what's worked for them. Not necessarily copying their ideas, but looking at,
of course not.
They've done this and we know we can do something better than that, or we can add more information to that, or this campaign was done 10 years ago. How can we make it more modern and make it even better? I think it's a good way of kind of using your competitors to your advantage.
Yeah, or you can like flip it on its head, find a different angle, definitely. I love the idea of working backwards, from the dream publications. It's a great tactic, I think. But yeah, same. Ideation is my favourite part of the job, but I will admit sometimes you can hit that sort of like creative block. It does,
especially on harder clients, the clients that you're not really interested in yourself.
Yeah, or if you've got a lot of clients that are coming up to the end of the quarter, so you're doing a lot of different ideation sessions, it can definitely get a little bit tiring. But I did this recently, and I would just say that if that does happen, honestly, go for a walk. Do something really mundane. I know, and in fact, my idea for this new series of Loft Talks came from me doing the washing up.
Literally, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Your brain switched off.
Yeah. Just let your brain do its thing, trust your kind of expertise and your instincts. Yeah. Sorry, Grace, were you going to say something?
I was just agreeing. I think it's really important to give yourself that creative clarity, like you say, going for a walk, having a shower, things like that.
Yeah.
It just makes you come back and that little bit more clearer and ready to focus again.
Yeah,
I also
definitely.
Utilising the people around you. So we're quite lucky now that we've got a big team.
Yeah.
If you know, I know that one of the girls is really into like American sports, and I know nothing about that. But if I go and reach out to her and say, you know, what's happening in the basketball league, she's interested in that. So you're more likely to get ideas from that. And I think just calling out to the people that you work with and saying, you know, I'm going to have an ideation session about X topic. Who wants to get involved? If you work with people who are interested in something, they're going to want to think about that. They're going to have ideas that you wouldn't even dream of having. So I think utilising the people around you is such a kind of easy win that people forget.
Oh yeah, 100%. And teamwork makes the dream work. I know it's
I know it does.
true, honestly. But yeah, we do that in my pod. We have Jamie, who's our resident sports guy, because none of the rest of us don't know anything about sports. But yeah, shout out to Jamie for that. But Grace, did you write a blog post on this topic recently?
I did, yeah. That's on the Digitaloft site, and it's got loads of inspiration, like places to find inspiration in there. But I just sort of wanted to add that obviously there are loads of places to find inspiration when you're looking, but not always necessarily in your client's niche. I think by widening that pool of like inspiration, it can spark other ideas from what other industries and niches are doing really well, and how you can sort of tie that in to your clients. As well, another really good tip is sometimes like the best ideas come from the actual customer themselves, as we've sort of talked here. But you can pick up snippets of information from like Reddit forums or Facebook groups, social media, like use social listening tools just to pick up what those customers are doing, like what are their pain points, what are they enjoying, what information do they want to find out. And I think you can use that to your advantage and sort of bring that into your ideation sessions and really like find a solution to these problems that people are actually searching for.
100%. It just goes back to that kind of like, just talk to your clients. You know, there's no harm in asking those questions. Doesn't make you any less of an expert. You're not an expert in their business. We're an expert in how to market the business, you know. Yeah, I love that, Grace. Okay, we're just getting to 5-2. So I think we'll leave that as the last question. But before I hand back over to Beth, Jack, do you have an inspiration ideation top tip?
I think similar to what Charlotte mentioned about sort of like banking older data sources. But I think another one that I do as well, I have a sheet where I'll have a tab for the industries that our clients are in, so like health, energy. And then because we're ideating so often, it can be so easy to forget.
Yeah.
That you've come across really strong ones that might not be relevant at that time. So even then, I'll just drop them into the tab. And then when I come back to it, you know, even with a little note about what the data's about, you've got that for future reference. And over the past couple of months, I've found that really useful, especially when you've been ideating for a client for so long and you feel like sometimes that the ideas can start running a bit thin. Yeah, I've definitely found that's helped a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes, like you say, the best ideas that you come up with when there's no pressure, when you don't have that like time limits, definitely getting into the habit of actually recording those little seed ideas just as and when they crop up is definitely useful. My team have just recently started doing that, and we call it the graveyard. So basically it's like ideas that we can't do right then because of, I don't know, budget, or we've got something else planned in. But we're just making a note of it in there. But I would say on that, guys, because I've been so guilty of doing this, is I know that you'd be really busy, but actually make the effort to like type out full notes to describe your idea, even if it's like really rambly. Because sometimes I'll just type in like, I don't know, EV charging, and then that's it. And I'll come back to it. I'm like, I don't know where I was going with that. So yeah, try and just explain your notes fully. But that was honestly great. We do have a fourth question, but we're running out of time. So what I'll do is I'll write up that and post it on my socials, and we can maybe answer it afterwards. But thank you so much for joining today, guys, and for all of the insights. And I'll hand back over to Beth.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you so much, everyone. That was absolutely fab. We haven't had any questions come through, but if anyone does have any further questions for the team, please do get in touch with us via our socials. And we'll definitely be doing one of these sessions again, so look out for that. This has also been recorded, so we'll be uploading this onto the Digital Loft site, so you can access this and share with your team at a later date if you want to as well. But yeah, thank you so much to Betty, Charlotte, Jack and Grace, and thanks to all you guys for attending, and we'll see you on the next one.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.